Good morning and welcome to In Session. I'm Vinny Politan. We begin this morning with breaking news out of Lima, Peru, where Jorn Vandersloot's attorney is working to prove the murder suspect is being wrongfully detained. Now, police say Vandersloot confessed to killing Stephanie Flores Ramirez in a hotel room, but he says he was tricked into signing documents and that he was pressured into incriminating himself. In Session correspondent Jean Casares is in Lima, Peru. She's got her hands on the document detailing Vandersloot's complaints. Good morning, Jean. Let me begin first with what exactly does this complaint filed by Vandersloot say?
Well, Vinny, it has a lot of information, but this is just amazing, Vinny. This is a misconduct complaint that is filed by the defense, Jorn Vandersloot, against the police, but really focused in on the homicide head at the Peruvian National Police. And let's show everybody a little bit of what it does say. It says, quote, "I come to file a complaint against the homicide director in the DENICRI in Lima, Colonial Miguel Angel Caña." That's the gentleman himself. And he says, and the police personnel that work in the police department. And he goes on to talk about that the police personnel in the department have violated his rights by not arresting him with a warrant, that a girlfriend of a police officer sat in as his defense attorney, and they took his computer without getting that judicial order that's necessary.
Unbelievable stuff and allegations. So now allegations going back and forth. They're alleging he's a murderer. He's alleging that his rights are being violated down there. What are the exact reasons here for this complaint, Jean?
Well, the basic reasons are that he feels that his due process rights have been violated. But it's interesting, we wouldn't do it this way in the United States, Vinny. We would move to have everything suppressed, and we would file it to the prosecution. But let's show some more what this says to everybody here. It says, "I have been detained without a judicial order. I have been detained my right to a proper defense by imposing an attorney that seems to be the girlfriend of a cop on duty who works in this police department, not allowing an attorney from the Attorney General's office or the judicial power to provide me with counsel. I have been imposed an unofficial translator whom has confused me with the intention of pressuring me to incriminate myself in this homicide investigation. And without a judicial order, they have taken my laptop and searched my communications and correspondence. My constitutional rights have been violated, as well as my right to a defense and due process." Now, Vinny, listen to this. This is what we found out late yesterday. We spoke with an attorney here, defense attorney Carla Odria was her name. She told us that she was the original defense attorney that was appointed for Jorn Vandersloot when this interrogation was about to begin. And he said to her, "I don't want to talk. I'm too tired from my trip from Chile. I don't want to talk." She told that to authorities. Well, guess what, Vinny? When you look on the confession, guess what? There's a completely different name of a defense attorney on that confession. So
Really?
that leads to tell me that what is in this from Jorn Vandersloot is the truth.
That is very interesting, Jean Casares, and could be very good for a Vandersloot, but still has to deal with some other issues like videotapes and bloody shirts. But as far as all this goes and the confession, maybe he does have something down there. Tell us a little bit now about the habeas corpus that was filed by Vandersloot's defense attorney. Why does he feel his rights were not upheld, Jean?
Well, he goes into many of the same things here in this document. But he talks about that he doesn't know how to read very well in Spanish. Now I see an inconsistency that they made him read and sign things without the presence of an attorney. So, you know, what's right, what's true here, what's not here, or is it a little bit of both? That there had not been this official translator. And, you know, I remember when we were here, it was that first week, and remember, this confession happened on Sunday the 6th, and during the midst of that week, I remember learning from the police department, our team found out that they were waiting for an official certified Dutch translator. Well, he'd already done the confession. It was done on Sunday, so could there be some truth to all of that? It's an issue. But it's just talking about that fundamental fairness in this habeas corpus document. But, Vinny, here's the thing. I was looking at the habeas corpus document this morning. They're not asking for charges to be dropped and him to walk free forever. They're asking him to walk free, to be released from Castro, and then he will face the judge. So it's sort of like to be given bail, and then you will go to the judge when it's your court-appointed hearing time.
All right, folks, I want to give you a little idea of how hard Gene Casares is working this story. So, we're here together every morning. Gene, right, we're talking about the case. You're down there, I'm up here. Well, last night, I'm getting ready to go to sleep. But what do? I turn on HLN, and I'm watching Nancy Grace. You're hosting. You're interviewing a reporter from a Dutch newspaper, The Telegraph, last night on the show. John van der Hovel, I think was his name. And this is a guy who interviewed Van der Sloot at Castro. What did he tell you about anything that Van der Sloot had to say about killing Stephanie Flores, Gene?
Well, Vinny, this was a great exclusive for HLN and for Nancy Grace's show because we've been reading the articles, right? The Telegraph is the only newspaper that Jorn van der Sloot has spoken to. Well, John van der Hoven, who is their crime reporter, he flew from the Netherlands to here in Lima to Castro, and I had so many questions to ask him, and he was a tremendous guest. Take a listen, everybody.
No, he didn't tell that. He didn't deny it, but he said, I don't want to say anything about that case. I talked to my lawyer, and he advised me to say nothing about the case. So he told me something about the situation in prison, but he didn't want to talk about the case. Of course, I asked him, did you murder Stephanie Flores? He said, I cannot say anything about it. That's the advice of my lawyer.
Van der Hovel also told me, Vinny, that Van der Sloot told him that there was a bucket of water right next to him, and as they were interrogating him, they said to him, if you don't talk, if you don't confess, your head's going to go and it's going to stay in that bucket of water.
Wow. All right, Gene Casares is live in Lima, Peru. Gene, you're going to hang around. So, we've been getting some great questions on this case from in-session viewers. Let's take a few minutes now to answer some of them in the Ask Vinny inbox. All right, our first question is from Desi Ellen in Mesa, Arizona, who writes, in viewing the video of Van der Sloot carrying cups of coffee, it looked to me like he came out of the room, closed the door, pretended to knock, left to get the housekeeper to open the door, and then went in. Let's take another look at that video if we can, and show the folks exactly what Desi is talking about here. And Gene, this video, after seeing the whole thing, that's my interpretation as well. It looks like he comes out of his room with the coffee and then all of a sudden wants to go back in, and looks like he knocks or pretends to knock on the door and then goes and gets someone from the front desk to open the door for him.
All I can say is thank goodness for Desi to write in that question or call us, because, Vinny, that's what I thought from the very beginning. And as I'm doing these shows and I'm listening and I'm just hearing people say that he knocks on the door, I'm saying, wait a minute, I could swear that I've seen, because, Vinny, my television is local Peruvian television, so that's what I'm watching here. And I could swear that I saw him come out the door and then close it and knock, which I think is the most important part of that video, because it shows the state of mind.
Absolutely, and everyone's interpretation, at least a lot of the viewers that we're getting, is, hey, it looks like he's putting on a show because he knows the camera's there with the 2 cups of coffee, making it look like, hey, look, I'm coming in with the coffee. I want to see what's going on in here. So it could be very important evidence. Next question comes from W. Taylor in Tampa, Florida, who wants to know, just curious, why have I not heard any commentary on why no one in the hotel in Peru heard the commotion when Van der Sloot beat up the victim? Of course, that's allegedly beat up the victim, or whoever killed Stephanie Flores Ramirez. Gene, are there any reports, because I haven't heard them either, any reports of any ear witnesses or eyewitnesses that heard anything?
No, Mr. Taylor is exactly right. We haven't been able to get that information. And, when we were at the Hotel TAC, we were waiting there for how many days for them to do the reconstruction. And the hotel, they were not cooperative, and I understand that. They told us their business was down to zero, that nobody wanted to stay there because they were scared, because it was the scene of a murder. But no one has come forward. No.
All right, and our last email is specifically for you, Gene. Sherry in Ponte Verde, Florida asks, where was Gene Casares born and what is her native country? She speaks Spanish very well. Gene, I'll take a stab at it. You're a Texan, aren't you?
Well, I'm half Texan and half Californian, so I'm half and half. But born in California, moved to Texas, and the Hispanic culture has been a really big part of my life. And to Sherry, right? Thank you very much.
All right, G. Casares, working long, long hours down.